where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Soup News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Soup News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Soup News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Soup News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Soup News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Soup News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Soup News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Soup News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Soup News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Soup News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Hello and welcome this beautiful Monday morning to Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. So over the weekend, the Central Bank of Nigeria sold one-year open market operation bills to foreign investors. This was to increase the foreign interest rates and also increase our foreign investment portfolio in the economy. Now, the profits from this open market operation bill rose up to 27.3%, which is quite impressive, as the Central Bank of Nigeria made over 1.01 trillion naira profits on selling these open market operation bills. Now, how does this impact the broader Nigerian economy, considering the recent surge in inflation? I know lots of us have questions on these issues because we always know that every now and then the Central Bank of Nigeria is creating opportunities, more investments, foreign investment opportunities to be precise, to help us with our inflation. But we want to know how this directly affects our economy and the inflation situation in the economy. So join me after the break. I will be discussing these issues and so much more with my guest. Stay tuned.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Soak News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souk News.
So I'm happy that Souk TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souk News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souk News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souk News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Zouk News.
Keep watching Souk News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching Souk News.
Welcome back. So, like I mentioned before the break, we want to know how selling the open market operation bills will affect foreign investments and how it also affects the inflation in the Nigerian economy. So, to discuss this with me, amongst other issues, is Professor Mike Obadon. He's a professor of economics and the chairman, Goldmark Education Academy. So he'll be joining us online via Zoom, and I'm going to be discussing how this will affect the Nigerian economy. We are all looking for a solution to inflation, and previous guests have also mentioned in the past that investments in our infrastructure, investments in our agricultural sector, direct foreign investments also in other sectors of the economy will help to curb inflation in the country at the moment. So let me connect with my guest, Professor Mike Obadon. Are you here with us now? Welcome to Market
Yes,
Insight
please.
this
I'm
morning,
with you.
Professor.
It's
I'm
my
happy
great
to have you
pleasure to
here
be
this
with you.
morning. Okay, thank you. Professor Mike Obadon is a professor of economics and the chairman, Goldmark Education Academy. Welcome to the show, Professor. So like I mentioned earlier on, I want to know how this will impact the selling of the open market operation bills, how this will impact the broader Nigerian economy, considering the fact that we currently have inflation at 29.9%. Professor, your thoughts, please.
Thank you very much. Let me say that the open market operations bill, or simply OMO bills, is a special instrument, monetary instrument that was designed a few years ago by the Central Bank of Nigeria to attract largely and mostly foreign capital inflow, that is of the portfolio investment variety. And the essence is to be able to, beef up the stock of external reserves of the country with a view to, helping to manage, the exchange rate. When the country has plenty of foreign stock of external reserves, then is in a position to use foreign exchange to intervene in the foreign exchange market to be able to achieve an exchange rate that is not so depreciated as we have today. And, of course, if we achieve that rate, to be able to stabilize the exchange rate at an appreciated level that will not impact so much on inflation. Well, let me say that in terms of impact on inflation, that the open market rate, OMO rate, which is about 21% or thereabout, aligns with the monetary policy rate of the central bank, which was increased last week at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting from 18.75% to 22.75%. That is by 4%. It's definitely inflationary because it's a monetary instrument that is expected to tighten financial conditions in the economy. That is to say, reduce the money supply with a view to fighting the monetary type of inflation. So invariably, like other interest rates of commercial banks, particularly the lending rates, we expect, that once the lending rates increase, it will increase the cost of lending, cost of borrowing, and then invariably, perhaps, will affect the cost of production of various types of enterprises, that borrow money from banks to produce goods and services. So invariably, the inflation rate is likely to go up when commercial banks increase their lending rates. And the essence actually is to more or less dampen the rate of credit creation and then money supply. So it's not the OMO rate as such, that is contributing to inflation, particularly as, the funding or borrowing is done by, government, through foreign investors. So definitely there is an inflationary impact of the various monetary policy instruments, including the latest, increase in OMO bill rates.
Okay, yes, I understand what you have said, Professor. Yes, but we also saw that expectedly when they sold this one-year OMO bills to foreign investors, they actually surpassed the expected yield. They were expecting about 355 billion naira, but it surpassed that. It went on to 1.01 trillion naira. So do you think this move aligns with the Central Bank of Nigeria's policy to address the current inflation in the economy, actually? Yes, you also mentioned that investors will actually be the one investing in our economy. They also need to, it's also increase the lending rates, but do you think it also aligns with how they will solve this inflation, current inflation in the economy?
Well, let me, like I've just explained, the OMO base rate is not a policy instrument to address inflation, reduce inflation. There are other measures that could be, taken to address the current galloping inflation. The purpose essentially is to attract foreign capital inflow, which can help to stabilize the exchange rate. It's possible that as a part of, as a side effect, that inflation could increase. But like I said, it's not because of the activities of commercial banks who would have responded, as expected to the monetary policy rate hike of last week. They are expected to increase lending rates. Lending rates increase the cost of borrowing and cost of production, among other effects. So that's what's likely to, inch up, the rate of inflation. So I believe that the central bank will be pleased with the outcome of the OMO auctioning that was done, especially to attract foreign investors.
Okay, thank you for that, Professor. Okay, so given the high demand for the open market operation bills at the recent auction, how might this affect liquidity in the Nigerian markets?
Well, no, what will affect? Is it the OMO bill rate or the monetary policy measures of the central bank?
How would this actually affect everyday economic businesses in the country also?
No, I beg your pardon, I didn't hear.
So, how this will affect liquidity in the Nigerian market, and how does liquidity tie into the economic experiences of Nigerians, or let me say businesses in Nigeria? Let me just put it that way.
Well, let me say that by selling the OMO bills, it's likely to increase liquidity in the economy. Because central bank has to provide, the money, invariably to do the servicing, as it were. But what is likely to impact liquidity very significantly is the monetary policy rate, which was hiked, and then the cash reserve requirement, which was, also hiked significantly from 32.5% to 45%. Those two measures are designed to reduce liquidity in the economy, which is adjudged to be so much as at this point in time. And the feeling is that with so much liquidity in the economy, so much money in circulation, that there's a lot of money in the hands of people, particularly, money that is not tied to production, money that some people have access to, and they use it to increase consumption when goods and services production, have not increased. And then they also use such money to speculate against, the naira in the foreign exchange market. They have plenty of money, and they go to the foreign exchange market to try to buy foreign currencies at any price. And so you find a situation that depreciates, the exchange rate. So is there actions, that would cause inflation in the economy? But with the measures taken, central bank expects that the liquidity in the economy and money in circulation will reduce, and then less money will be available to economic agents, to put pressure on the foreign exchange market or put pressure on goods and services, and so, tend to douse, inflation in the economy.
So would you also suggest the fact that we have so much money in the economy and most of these monies are not tied to production, so it might be better for people to actually invest most of the excess funds that they have perhaps in the stock market? Yes, Professor, what would you suggest?
Well, if through the stock market, producers will have access, to the funds to produce, fair enough. But otherwise, we would encourage, such people that have huge sums of what I can call idle money to invest in the productive sectors of the economy, invest in agriculture, invest in manufacturing, invest in transportation, and similar sectors like mining, petroleum, that produce goods and services and then help to reduce, inflation. Stock market, you saw the recent bubble, in the stock market, a situation whereby perhaps due to market manipulations, the prices of stocks, were rising astronomically. And people knew that there could be a bubble burst at some point, which I think is happening now because of the central bank's monetary policy measures. With the hike in monetary policy rate and increase in cash reserve ratio, what's happening is that lending rates, saving rates of commercial banks likely to increase. And with such increases, investors are likely to invest less in the stock market and put their money, in different monetary instruments in the deposit money banks. I think that must be the reason why, in the last few days, stock prices have trended downwards, and some stakeholders, investors, have been reported to have lost, billions, if not trillions, of naira. So my suggestion would be people that have money for speculation, either in the stock market or in the foreign exchange market, should divert such money to the production sectors of the economy. That is what will help employment, that will help reduction of poverty, will help the growth of the economy, which will make, all of us, to be much happier in terms of improved social welfare.
Thank you for that. Yes, I actually do, because in this country, we're definitely looking for any form of anything that can make us happier with the current situation. I mean, when we go to our local markets or supermarkets and we hear them saying, oh, the prices of these things have gone up, and you're looking at it like these are things that are made right here in my country. So why did the prices keep increasing? So yes, I do share your thoughts on that too, Professor. Yes, we need to invest more in more productive services, actually, to actually benefit us as people. So Professor Obadon, yes, so with plans, the Central Bank of Nigeria's plans to increase open market operation frequency, volumes, and do you see any side effects on domestic investments and borrowing within Nigeria, and how might this impact on businesses in the country? As you know, most people who are starting out and people who also have their own businesses thriving successfully, they have been able to borrow money from the bank at certain points in time. Yes, Professor, are you still there? Okay, we're still connecting with Professor Mike Obado, and like he rightfully said, he has suggested that we needed to invest in more productive services instead of just keeping this cash lying around idly. I do share your thoughts on that, Professor. So welcome back. So you actually said that yes, investing in sectors like agriculture, transportation, petroleum will actually benefit us more in this country, and I agree with you on that. So with the Central Bank of Nigeria's plans to invest more in open market operations, and also this will also increase the volume of OMO bills in the economy. So do you see any potential side effects in domestic investments in terms of borrowing costs with Nigerian businesses? Like, do you see any sign of investments decreasing, or let me say borrowing and lending for Nigerian businesses?
Yes, the investors in the Nigerian economy, real sectors of the Nigerian economy, in agriculture, in manufacturing, mining, and similar sectors, may be adversely affected. Not necessarily because of the OMO bills that the central bank, is selling, but because of the aggregate monetary policy measures of the central bank, which have a tightening effect. Let me say this, that the purpose of increasing monetary tightening in the economy is to, increase the cost of borrowing, really. So which means, yeah, new investors are likely to be affected. They are likely to think twice before now taking loans from the commercial bank, because they will think twice and figure out the rates of returns on their proposed investment in relation to the cost of borrowing. If the cost of borrowing is expected to be higher, then you see there is a discouragement of new investment in that area. Even the investors, the manufacturers, producers, micro, small, and medium enterprises that have already borrowed, if the commercial banks, hike their lending rates, is going to affect them, affect their rate of expansion of productive capacities. And it may turn out that some of them might counter increased difficulty in repaying even the existing loans. In other words, the commercial banks may experience increased default. But that's a likely development. It may not, but invariably, if the policy instruments are implemented as designed and expected, and they reduce the ability of new investors, to borrow, and even the banks themselves, their ability to lend is reduced, because they are going to put more of their deposits received in the vaults of the central bank as reserves, idle kind of reserves, rather than being available for productive lending. So the net effect of the tightened monetary policy measures is to reduce the ability of the deposit money banks to extend credit, to lend money to the incentive of new investors, economic agents, to even borrow money. Because borrowing implies credit creation, expansion of liquidity by the commercial banks. And so both measures, invariably have that effect. And, it may not be in the best interest of the economy after all. If, commercial banks cannot lend, borrowers that have already borrowed, they cannot, repay the loans, and the banks themselves may experience, increased, non-performing loans and so on. So the effects, are not really, palatable as such. It's just that the central bank may achieve its objective of reduced inflation, in the economy. And so invariably, normally, there is usually a trade-off in policies. Policies are designed to achieve certain objectives. And when they achieve that, some other costs, trade-offs may occur. That's likely what.
That was my guest, Professor Mike Obadon. And yes, he has offered quite a lot of suggestions as to how the sale of the open market operation bills will actually affect the economy and also affect the inflation in the economy. So after the break, we'll actually discuss further with Professor Mike Obadon. Stay tuned.
In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Souk News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souk News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souk News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souk News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souk News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
My name is Yinka Babalola.
My name is Ijoma Pelokoro.
My name is Joshua Hassan.
I am Rotarian OMO Sunday Lawson.
It's Ife Yunwarita Ejeze. My friends call me Ife.
My name is Rotarian Lola Dare.
I'm inviting you to keep watching Souk News. It's the right station to tune to.
I like Souk News. Souk News is good.
I want to charge you all to listen to Souk News, watch the news.
You can have unlimited news first time.
Find Souk News. Be with Souk News. Never switch off. You are better for it. Souk News is the real thing.
Listen to their coverage and you'll be glad you did.
Turn to your YouTube, turn to your Instagram, turn to all your digital channels and look for Souk News.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Please, guys, keep watching
Souk News.
Welcome back. So that was my time with Professor Mike Obadon. He is the professor of economics and the chairman of Goldmark Education Academy. So he actually shared his thoughts with us concerning the open market operation bills, the sale of open market operation bills by Central Bank of Nigeria, and how this will affect the economy, how this will affect Nigerian businesses like the SMEs. And also he suggested that investing our idle cash in more productive services like agriculture, transportation, petroleum, because this will yield profit and also create more employment opportunities in the country. So thank you so much, Professor Mike Obadon. That was my time with you. We look forward to having you more often on Market Insight. Yes, so my next guest, Mr. Ayegbani Kanabe, is an economist and an investment broker, and he's also a stockbroker who works with Hedge Securities and Investments Company Limited. So he's also going to go further in depth into how the yield from the open market operation, which is over 27.3%, will affect the Nigerian economy and also affect small and medium enterprises in the country. So, Mr. Kanabe, are you with us? We're joining him via Zoom.
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Ayegbeni Kanabe.
Pardon, I apologize for that. So, Mr. Ayegbeni Kanabe, thank you for joining us this morning on Market Insight. He is an investment stockbroker. He's an investment banker. He's also a chartered stockbroker, and he works with Hedge Securities and Investment Companies Limited. Thank you for joining us on Market Insight this morning. So earlier on, I mentioned that the Central Bank of Nigeria recently had an auction of our open market operation bills to the tune they yielded a profit of over 1.01 trillion naira, which is a whole lot of money. So we're actually discussing how this will affect the Nigerian economy, especially the small and medium enterprises.
Thank you so much. Yes, anytime the Central Bank of Nigeria embark on this monetary policy, is done in a bid to encourage the small and medium scale investors to produce. But one thing that is obviously clear in this economy is that we should introduce the productive base of Nigerian economy. The basic thing that needs to be done is to enlarge our productive base. Anything being done is to encourage those that want to produce, that we enable to more and the produce value to sell outside, provided the economy is productive. That is basically what CBN tried to encourage. Whatever they have done is in that direction. To get people who want to embark in to produce.
So you're actually saying, yes, this policy was aimed at to produce more in the economy. Yes, it's also increased our foreign investment in the economy. So considering the Central Bank of Nigeria's projection concerning inflation, actually they hope to moderate it, or rather to reduce it to 21.4%. As you know, it is currently 29.9%, which is quite high. But in the medium term, like for a short-term reduction of inflation to 21.4%. Now, how does this align with the government's broader strategy to improve on living conditions in the economy? As you know, because inflation is over 29.9%, our cost of living is really high and everyone has been complaining. So how do you think this would actually help to reduce inflation to 21.1% or 21.4%? Mr. Kanabe?
Yes, it will help. What the CBN just done last week was to step up the monetary policy rate from 18% to what that policy intended to do was to clear off the inflation effect that has been on the increase. That's why they needed to step up that ready rate, the MPC rate from 18 to 22. One of the effect of that decision is to clear off the inflationary rate in the economy. But by and large, we have argued and consistently argued that what the key thing to do to check the inflationary rate in the economy is it will go beyond the CBN manipulating the monetary policy. Government must deliberately look at the production cost of medium and small scale businesses. How do you look into the power generation? If this government does not take deliberate policy on power, no matter the manipulation done by the CBN, either to increase or decrease the volume of cost circulation will work, but to an extent. But encouraging something to check the inflationary rate is power generation. It will go a long way to allow that the medium and small scale businesses do a lot of production. If nothing is done or deliberately done, it will be difficult to achieve that. Other than that, inflation rate in the economy will continue to go if we don't look at transportation, production. If you produce, there are goods that are produced in the hinterland that we cannot get to where they want to consume them, like the city of Lagos. Transportation costs. They will talk about the energy, the fuel crisis that have been around. If government does not look into this, inflation will continue to come, no matter manipulation being done at the central bank. If you produce yam in Jigawa, in Taraba, in Adamawa, in Niger State, in Benue State, these 4 states are the food basket of Nigeria. If you don't allow them to bring food to Lagos to sell, you are joking. no matter the manipulation be done at the central bank. So whatever you are going to do to all the transportation, the movement of goods around in Nigeria is key. It will check inflation in the economy. If you don't do that, if you talk about, we talk about transportation, then we talk about security, the security of lives. How easy does it take people to move their goods, the gari that is produced in my Edo to come to Lagos, the one that is produced, the local rice that is done come to Lagos and compete with the foreign rice. If you don't check the goods around, transportation cost and security. These are two elements that the government need to look into if they want to check the crisis of inflation in Nigeria. It's very good. It's not that Nigeria is not producing locally, but even those that are produced locally cannot be sold. Yams are expensive, not that they are not produced, but they cannot get them. Getting them to consume them is a problem of Nigeria. By way of transportation and the security, that insecurity in the country right now. So these are the key elements government need to also look into as they get the CBN to manipulate as they get the CBN to manipulate the monetary policy rate. So these are the way to go.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Kanabe. Yes, you have suggested investing more in production, and also the government needs to look into our transportation and our security situation in the country. Like you rightfully said, if farmers in other states in the Middle Belt, for example, want to bring in their goods to Lagos State to sell, and issues like transportation have not been resolved, it will be difficult for these products to actually get to Lagos State. So thank you for sharing that with us. So, okay, yes, Mr. Kanabe, yes, I want to actually ask you, now what are some long-term solutions to ensure sustainable economic growth and improve on the living standards in Nigeria? Yes, you have also said that the government needs to look into transportation, improvements on production of more food items, more locally produced goods, but long-term goals to actually sustain the economic growth in the country. What would you suggest, Mr. Kanabe?
Yes, very quickly, one of the key things to do to sustain Nigeria is infrastructural. We need to embark on huge infrastructural building like roads. A while ago, I talked about movement of goods and services. Infrastructure. What are the infrastructure? Road network, electricity. We need this infrastructure in place for talk about sustainability in economic growth that will further lead to economic development. If we government will take it as a deliberate policy, how do we overturn the infrastructure development in Nigeria? The key infrastructure are key. Road network, the rail system, power generation, them on the front burner to allow, to make them government look into them eyeball to eyeball and tackle them. It will be difficult to embark on sustainability in terms of economic growth in Nigeria. It is this infrastructure, when they are in place, you can talk about economic development. No meaningful production will go on in the country there's no electricity. No meaningful development will talk about a country that does not have good road system, good rail network. If you produce, how do you get them? To get oil out of the seaport here, the refinery, to get them to the north where they want to consume, this is a problem. The rail system are not working. Transportation is still failing. Electricity, the infrastructure, key infrastructure in the economy. The government wants to look at them and put them and fight them head on and situate them properly for us to embark on sustainability in terms of economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanabe. Thank you for joining us this morning on Market Insights and for sharing these suggestions with us. Actually, like you rightfully said, improvements in our infrastructure will promote sustainable growth in the economy, particularly our road system, or rather our road network, our rail system, and also improving our power generation. Yes, power is such an issue in Nigeria right now. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Kanabe, and we look forward to having you again on Market Insights.
I will definitely answer your call anytime I'm called upon to do so. I love your Sequel News. God bless you. Thank you.
Okay, do enjoy the rest of your day. Now let's take a look at the parallel market rates and the official CBN market rates for today, Monday, 4th of March 2024. So the selling rates, the Naira is actually selling the dollar at this is the Central Bank of Nigeria rates at 1,475 Naira, and the Naira is actually selling the pound sterling at 1,871 Naira, and the Naira is selling the euro at 1,622 Naira. So these are our official Central Bank of Nigeria rates. Now the parallel market rates, yeah, these ones are quite high actually. So the parallel market rates, the Naira is selling the dollar at 1,600 Naira. The Naira is also selling the pound sterling at 1,900 Naira. The Naira is selling the euro at the parallel market rates at 1,750 Naira. So those are our our parallel market rates this morning. So as usual, the unofficial rates are actually higher than the Central Bank of Nigerian rates. Okay, thank you so much for listening to me on Market Insight this morning. Yes, we do hope to see more improvements in our economy actually, and also with our foreign exchange rates, the sale of the dollar to the Naira actually, we also hope to see an improvement in that. We're actually very hopeful on that note. So let me summarize what my guests actually said, both Mr. Professor Obadon and Mr. Kanabe. An investment in our production services like transportation, agriculture, petroleum will actually help to sustain our economy, and like Mr. Kanabe said, improving on infrastructure in the country will promote a longer sustainable economic growth in the country. And that was our package this morning on Markets Insight, as we discuss how the open market operations will affect the Nigerian economy and also affect small and medium enterprises in the country. Thank you for stay tuned with us this morning and for listening and watching the show. We do hope to have you tomorrow again when we discuss more issues that will impact on the Nigerian economy and how to solve the current inflation in the economy. Join me tomorrow again. My name is Lovina Emma. Stay tuned for our continuous programming on Souk News.